Chapter 37 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. Lakshmana is worried. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Rama, Lakshmana and Sita were very happy in the ashrama on Mount Chitrakuta. Nature was lavish in her bounty here, and Sita, who had ever been fond of flowers and birds and deer, was very happy here. Every day something new would be discovered by them, and they would talk about it, and they succeeded in forgetting the fact that they were exiles and that they were denied the comforts of the city. The river Mandakini was beautiful, and sitting on its banks, Rama would spend hours together with Sita watching the peacocks dance, and they would listen to the birds singing in glee. The flow of the river made music, and Rama was extremely happy in these pleasant surroundings. On that particular day, when they were seated, they found a herd of elephants running around as though in panic. Rama looked at this strange scene and heard an unusual noise from a distance. He said, "Look, Lakshmana, there is a noise resembling that of an earthquake. The very earth is trembling under the shock, sudden as it seems to be. In this spot, there was nothing but peace reigning, and now there seems to have appeared some alien element which is frightening the animals. Look at the deer, which are terrified beyond measure. Even the wild animals seem to be scared. It seems to me some king or prince has entered the forest with a desire to hunt. Just try and see what is happening." Lakshmana ascended a tall sala tree, and from its top he looked all around. His eyes finally came to rest in the east. He saw there a large army made up of chariots, horses, and pedestrians. He looked carefully and saw the banner. He spoke from the top of the tree to Rama. His voice was excited and worried. He said, "My dear brother, please extinguish the fire at once. Take Sita some place which cannot be perceived easily. Hide her from prying eyes. As for you, take up your bow and string it. Please hurry and put on your armor. Danger is approaching us fast." Rama was more amused than impressed by the flurry in the voice of Lakshmana. He said, "Lakshmana, do you make out whose army it is? Take a good look and tell me." Lakshmana was looking like fire incarnate. He would have burnt the entire army if it had been possible for him to do so. He said, "Kaikeyi's son Bharata has been crowned king. He wants to stabilize his throne, and he has come here to get rid of you and me. There is no doubt about it. I can see the chariot and the Kovidara banner, which is only too well known to me. I can even see a look of joy on the face of everyone. Come, let us go to the slope and welcome them with your arrows. Or we will wait for them here, armed with our bows. Let us capture the banner, my lord. Do you think I will be able to look at that Bharata who has been the cause of the sufferings of you and Sita? Because of him, you have been banished from the kingdom which is rightly yours, and my hands are impatient to kill him. I do not see anything sinful in this decision of mine. He has taken the initiative now to kill us, and he has come here with that purpose. I will defend you and your life. I will kill him, and the rightful king will rule Kosala once again. Kaikeyi will fall to the ground like a tree uprooted by an elephant, and that will be great joy for me. I will kill her too and her attendants, every one of them. Because you had commanded me, I had been keeping quiet all these days, keeping this anger of mine under control, and I have been meek since you had asked me to be. But now my anger will blaze like burning fire touching a pile of dried leaves. I will pierce every heart in that army with my sharp arrows, and the mountain will flow with rivers of blood. The wild animals will find food for a long time because of the bodies of the men I am going to slay. My arrows are getting rusty. I will use them on Bharata, and I will be happy after his death." Rama, was greatly distressed by the violence of the anger of Lakshmana. He tried to pacify him with his soft and gentle words. He said, Lakshmana, if Bharata is coming here, where is the need for us to take up arms against him? You know only too well my promise to my father. Now you suggest the killing of Bharata? Breaking my promise to my father and taking upon myself the sin of killing my brother, I will become the king of Kosala. Do you think such a thought is welcome to me? Wealth, which one wins at the cost of the life of a kinsman or friend, is like food which has been poisoned. I will not even look at it. Lakshmana, do you remember my telling you something on the day the throne was promised to me by our father? I said, I am glad for you, my brother. We will rule this kingdom together. I am happy for you. I assure you, I wish to be king only because I wish to share it with my brothers. I have but their happiness and welfare at heart. It is not as though I cannot conquer this entire world girt but by the sea. I do not desire to get it the way you suggest. Even the position of Indra obtained by unrighteousness is not desirable. If it is the only kind of happiness meant for me at the cost of losing my brothers, let that happiness burn to ashes. It is not welcome to me. Lakshmana stood silent and Rama stroked him on the back with love and said, My beloved brother, I know you are angry for my sake, and that is the reason why you want to kill Bharata. I will tell you why Bharata has come. Bharata is extremely fond of his brothers. I love him more than my very life, and he knows it. Bharata must have come back from Rajagraha. He must have heard about you and me with Sita living in the forest, dressed in tree bark and with our hair matted like rishis. He must have been grieved at the painful happenings at Ayodhya when he was away. He has great respect for the prestige of our royal line and does not want to transgress it. With pain in his heart, with affection for me, he has come to the forest to see you and me. I am certain that he has come just for that. That saintly brother of mine would have, I am sure, chastised his mother, Kaikeyi, for what she has done. He has made my father give me the kingdom, and Bharata is coming here to coax me to go back to Ayodhya. This journey of Bharata to the forest is but natural for him, and I assure you, he means no harm to me. How has poor Bharata offended you, Lakshmana, that you should be so angry with him, furious? Why do you doubt him? It is not right that you should speak ill of Bharata. It displeases me. If you hurt Bharata, I will think that you have hurt me. Lakshmana, even when some crisis occurs, will sons kill their father? Will a brother kill his brother? Perhaps you want the kingdom, and that is the cause of this your rancor against Bharata. If that is so, your wish will be granted soon. The moment Bharata comes to me, I will tell him, Bharata, let the kingdom be given to Lakshmana. The moment I say so, Bharata will say, as you say, and you can be happy. When he heard the words spoken by Rama, Lakshmana shrank within himself. So ashamed was he of the idea which had been suggested by Rama. He realized that his behavior was unpardonable as far as his brother was concerned. What hurt him most was the fact Rama ascribed to him the fault for which he said Bharata was to be punished. He stood still without speaking and with his eyes downcast. He then roused himself and quickly changing the subject, he said, I think it is our father who is coming with his entire retinue to see you. He cannot bear to be without you. Rama saw how small Lakshmana was feeling, and so he pretended to ignore it. Rama said, Perhaps you are right. Perhaps the king had second thoughts. He cannot bear to think of us living in the forest. He remembers the luxury in which he has brought us up, and he has decided to take us back with him. Father must be particularly concerned about this Sita, who has been brought up so tenderly and who is too delicate to live the rough life which she has adopted for my sake. Look, Lakshmana, our father's two favorite horses are there, and the noble Shatrunjaya, my favorite elephant, is walking in state in the van of the army. I am not able to see my father's white umbrella though. The brothers watched the army come to a halt, and they did not know that Bharata, in deference to his brother, had forbidden the army to proceed further. Jai Shri Ram. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Om Sri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 38 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Bharata's Quest. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. The trackers whom Bharata had sent came back to him after a while with great excitement, and they said, "At some distance from here, on a spot where the ground is fairly level, where there is no habitation as far as the eye can see, we found smoke rising up to the skies. We are almost sure the prince must be there. Perhaps some tapasvins are there, but our instinct is that it is the ashrama of Rama." Bharata was trembling with excitement. He told the army men, "You should not proceed any further into the forest. Remain here and wait for my instructions. Let Sumantra and Dhriti come with us." The army halted, and Bharata with Shatrughna and the two others walked in the path which was indicated by the guides. He looked hard at the sky where smoke was spiraling up. There was in the heart of everyone the feeling that the journey had ended and that Rama had been seen. Bharata could not contain himself. He walked towards the slope of the hill from where the smoke was snaking its way upwards. He said, "Shatrughna, you should, with these men, search all over the place for the ashrama. Guha will also do so with his men. I will go with some of the men and search. Unless and until I see my eyes on Rama, I can find no peace. I will not rest until I place him on the throne and leave the kingdom in his hands. I am eager to place my head on his dear feet and wash them with my tears. I am jealous of Lakshmana, who has the good fortune to be with him always. This Chitrakuta is blessed since Rama dwells in it. It is like the Nandana garden of Indra. The very trees and animals here are more fortunate than me, since Rama's eyes have rested on them often." Bharata passed a sala tree, and climbing to its top, he found that the ashrama was very near. He could see the smoke very clearly now. He was thrilled, and he looked like one who had found the other shore of an ocean which seemed till now to stretch far into the horizon. Bharata beckoned to Guha, and with him walked fast towards the ashrama. He walked to where his brother Shatrughna had been sent and recalled him. All of them walked together now. Bharata's call had convinced Shatrughna that the ashrama had been found, and he told Vashishta, "Please be good enough to come with our mothers along the path we have taken. I will rush to my brother." Sumantra walked with Shatrughna. He was just as eager as Bharata was to see Rama. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramar Panam. Chapter 39 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. Bharata meets Rama. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. They spoke not a word. They walked fast, and Bharata's heart was ready to burst with happiness. He had found his brother. In a few moments he would return to Rama, the kingdom which had been stolen from him by his mother. Rama would come back with him to Ayodhya, and there would be nothing but joy everywhere from now on. Thoughts like these chased each other across his mind like white, fleecy clouds racing in the sky. They had come very near the ashrama. Bharata saw that it was beautifully built. He saw firewood which had been collected and placed nearby for use daily. He saw flowers which had been gathered, probably for the worship of the gods, to be performed by his brother. He saw the cicatrices on the tree branches where the clothing of the brothers had been tied daily for drying. He saw the cow dung cakes which had been piled up in pits to keep the cold away when night sets in. Bharata said, I am quite sure that we have arrived at the place indicated by sage Bharadwaja. There are signs of habitation here. The smoke from the household fire is dense here. My brother Rama is living in this ashrama, like a tapaswin, and soon I will feast my eyes on him. They walked for a while longer along the banks of the river Mandakini. They ascended a slight slope, and all on a sudden they were near the ashrama of Rama. Sala trees, palm, and akshwakarna trees had been used to build it, and the roof was covered with a thatch of leaves. The entrance had soft dharba grass spread on it so that it would be soft under the tread. Beyond the doorway could be seen bows inlaid with gold. There were quivers which were filled with arrows lustrous as the rays of the sun. There were swords inside scabbards made of gold and encrusted with gems. Shields and finger guards were to be seen, and it seemed to them like the cave of the king of the forest. Bharata perceived a platform on which was burning the fire which had led them to the spot. He looked again, and he saw his brother Rama seated in front of the fire. Rama with his hair all matted and tangled, with his noble figure covered by tree bark and deer skin. Looking like a flame himself, Rama sat facing the fire. With his wide shoulders looking like those of a lion, with his magnificent arms bare of the ornaments which were wont to adorn them, with his eyes like lotus petals, Rama sat in front of the fire, worshipping it. The prince, who should have ruled the world, which had the sea as its boundary now, sat like Brahma on dharba grass, spread on the floor, and with Sita by his side. Lakshmana was standing near him with his arms locked across his chest. Bharata stood still for a long moment. His limbs refused to bear him. He then rushed towards Rama. He could not see properly since tears were clouding his eyes. His sorrow was like the sea which had burst its boundaries. He stood thus for a while and then spoke in a voice that shook with tears. My brother, who should be seated in the court served by his myriad attendants and courtiers, is now seated on the floor covered by dharba grass and attended by the animals of the forest as his subjects. This great prince, who should wear nothing but the softest of silks, is wearing tree bark since he is righteous. How is it possible for him to live with his matted hair? I have seen sandal paste covering those glorious arms and that white chest, and I now see dust from the air clinging to his body and covering him. He has been accustomed only to comforts, and such a man is undergoing this rigorous life. All these things have happened because of me. The censure of the world is on me, and I should have died before seeing this sight. Bharata, with his face drenched in tears, advanced towards Rama, but fell down even before reaching his feet. He looked at Rama and could just say, Rama, my beloved brother, and could say no more. Shatrughna, who was with Bharata all the while, fell along with Bharata at the feet of Rama. Rama raised them up and embracing them shed tears. It was a very tender meeting of the four brothers. They looked like the sun and the moon with Shukra and Brihaspati beside them. That was the thought in the mind of Sumantra when he came there along with Guha. Rama wiped his tears and looked at Bharata again and again. He saw Bharata wearing tree bark, and he had also matted his hair. He could not be easily recognized, so thin had he become. Covered with dust and dimmed with coarse cloth he was wearing, Bharata looked like the sun which had fallen on the earth at the end of the Yuga. Rama embraced him again and again. He placed him on his lap as he would a child and asked him, Child, it is not right that you should come to the forest thus, since our father is alive and ruling the country. I have not seen you for quite a while since you had gone to the city of your grandfather. And now it seems to me you look travel stained and worn out. Why did you come to the forest? You should not have left father alone at home. I hope he is bearing bravely the separation from all of us. He is so full of love for all of us. Tell me, how is my father, that saintly king who has won for himself the other world by his righteous deeds? How are my mothers, Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi? How is Vashishta, our guru? I remember Sudhanva, our instructor in the use of weapons. How is he? Tell me all about everyone in Ayodhya and tell me why you have come to the forest. Bharata looked with his red eyes at Rama and said, Rama, I am an outcast from Dharma and the observance of it. I have therefore adopted this tree bark. My lord, emperor of the world, no younger brother inherits the throne which his elder brother is alive, when his elder brother is alive. This has been the code of the Ikshwakus. If you wish to bless Ayodhya, please come back with me. For the good of the country and all of us, please come back and be crowned. You have to rule the kingdom which is now an orphan. Bharata paused for a moment, not knowing how to proceed. Rama noted the hesitant voice, and he also noted the word orphan. In a voice full of concern, he asked Bharata, Orphan? Why do you call the country by that name? Our father is ruling the kingdom, and with him as father, how can Kosala be called orphaned? Bharata sobbed out, It is orphaned, my lord. When I was away in Kekeya, when you left for the forest with Sita and Lakshmana, our father, that saint among men, was gathered to his forefathers. He was not able to bear the separation from you, and he died mourning your absence. He lived for just 5 days after you left. When Sumantra came back to Ayodhya and told him that you had gone beyond the river Ganga, the king's heart broke and died that night. Rama, please offer Tarpana to him. I paid him the homage of an Anjali, and so has Shatrughna. But the soul of a departed person is satisfied only when the Anjali is offered by one dear to him. And brother, you have ever been dear to our father. You were his favorite. Father thought only of you. He would look only at you, and when you left him and went away, he was sorely distressed. His eyes, which were ever resting on your beloved face, could not see anything else. His mind, which was always set on you, could not be withdrawn from thoughts of you, and sorrow was the disease which killed our father, the king. Rama fell down senseless when he heard the news. He was a shattered man. He loved his father just as much as Dasharatha loved him, and this tragic death of the king was terrible. When he realized that it was because of him that the king had died, Rama's grief knew no bounds. Trained as he was in controlling all his feelings, this sorrow, however, proved to be too much for him to bear. The news hit him like a thunderbolt hurled by Indra, and Rama reeled under it. The brothers and Sita sprinkled water on him and tried to revive him. After a while, Rama woke up from his faint and wept like a child. I had hopes of finishing this exile of mine and coming back to Ayodhya to grasp the feet of my beloved father in my hands. Now, there is nothing left for me in Ayodhya. You tell me that the king died as a result of the sorrow caused by me. I was not fortunate enough even to perform the funeral rites to my father, even though I am his eldest son. What is the use of my being alive? You and Shatrughna are fortunate since you could do your duty to your father and perform the samskaras. Kosala is indeed orphaned. You spoke right. I have no desire to come back to Ayodhya even after the termination of the 14 years. My father will not be there. Will I never set my eyes on him again? Will I never call him father? Will I never hear him calling me Rama in that extremely loving voice of his? Rama wept for a while and turning to Sita said, Sita, did you hear what Bharata said? Your father-in-law is dead. Lakshmana, you have lost your father. There was not a single person there whose eyes remained dry at the sight of Rama, whose sorrow was inconsolable. The brothers finally led him to the banks of the river for him to offer Tarpana to his dead father. Rama told Lakshmana, I am going to offer Tarpana to my father. Bring me my upper cloth. Bring also the dried cake made of the ingudi fruit. Let Sita walk in the forefront. You follow her and I will walk behind you. This is the proper way to do. When they reached the river, Sumantra, who was devoted to the family, comforted Rama and he held him while he entered the waters to have a bath. The brothers bathed in the river Mandakini and with their cupped palms holding water they said, This is the Anjali we offer to our father. Rama lifted his arms with his face turned towards the south and said, King of kings, you are in the land of the Pitrus. May this water offered to you by me be acceptable to you. Rama came out of the waters and made the offerings of the Pinda for his father. He mixed the ingudi cake with the flesh of the badari fruit, and after spreading dharba on the ground, he placed the Pinda on it. With great pain in his mind, Rama said, A man's gods should accept the food which he eats. We now eat this and be gracious and accept this offering and be satisfied. Rama walked away from the water and ascended the slope. After coming back to his ashrama, he embraced his brothers. Their grief was great, and the men around stood silent, while the great man gave vent to his grief. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Padamastu. Chapter 40 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Bharata's Appeal. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. By this time the army had realized that Bharata had reached his brother's ashrama, and so they decided to advance further into the forest and join Bharata. They were eager to see Rama, who seemed to have been away from Ayodhya for a very long time, though it was not so. To them, ages seemed to have passed since they last saw him, and they could not stay back any longer. Vashishta came first with the queens. They walked along the path traced out on the banks of the river Mandakini. They knew that this was the river which had been favored by Rama for his daily bath and his other rituals. Sumitra and Kausalya were walking slowly, and some distance was covered by them. Kausalya said, Sister, this seems to be the path along which your son Lakshmana walks daily, bearing on his manly shoulders the pots of water for the ashrama where my son stays. He has taken upon himself the task of serving Rama, and he is doing it well, as I can see. As they were walking, their eyes lighted on the dharba grass on which were placed the pindas. Kausalya exclaimed, Look on this pinda which has been offered by the great prince Rama for his dead father. King Dasharatha, who was like a god to us, and who looked and who lived like a god, who had tasted of all the joys this world had to offer, will now be satisfied by this pinda made up of ingudi and badari, since it has been offered by his beloved son. Can anything be more pathetic than this sight? They reached the ashrama of Rama. The sight of Rama with his jata was shocking to the mothers. Rama came forward to meet them and prostrated before all of them. They stroked him with loving hands, and Lakshmana followed Rama and then Sita. Kausalya took Sita in her arms and caressed her as she would a daughter born of her. Rama saluted his guru Vashishta, and so did Lakshmana. Like Indra greeting Brihaspati, Rama grasped his guru's feet in his hands, and placed his head on them. The first flush of grief had abated, and when Ashishta asked him to be seated, Rama did so, and by his side sat Bharata, Lakshmana, and the younger brother Shatrughna. The ministers had come, and so had the priests. Silence, a long silence, pervaded the entire place. Everyone was looking at Bharata and wondering what he would say. Glowing like flames from the same fire, the brothers sat around their guru, and it was a glorious sight. Rama spoke first. He looked at Bharata and asked him, "I am eager to know why you have come here to me dressed in tree bark and with your hair matted like ours. Give me some plausible reason for this behavior of yours." Bharata stood up. He folded his palms and suddenly he prostrated before Rama. He then said, "Our father, who was a saint among men, who was renowned the world over for his valor and for his righteousness, strayed away from the path of Dharma and performed an unforgivable act. And because of that, he was separated from you, and not being able to bear it, he lost his life. Our father gained for himself this blemish in an otherwise blameless life because of a woman who happens to be my mother, Kaikeyi. Because of his promise to this sinful woman, he did what he did. Neither has she gained the kingdom which she wanted, nor is she happy now since her lord is dead, her king who loved her to distraction. Her future is terrible to contemplate, since it will be a special hell meant for sinners like her. Rama, I appeal to you to absolve me of this sin. Please be gracious enough to come back to Ayodhya and accept the kingdom which is yours by right. We want you to be crowned. All these people have come to you to join me in appealing to you. You have always granted the wishes of everyone. It is up to you to keep up the reputation you have earned and grant me my wish. Let the clouds be cleared from the skies, and let the moon shine in all his splendor as he does in the autumnal sky. You should not refuse the desire of all of us. Return to the city and rule the people even as our father did. The orphaned city will find a father in you who would make them all happy." Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Chapter 40, Part 2 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Bharata's Appeal. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Bharata found great difficulty to talk clearly. He had suffered so much during the past few days. Constant weeping, his anger against his mother, and in addition, the fear of the censure of the world had worked havoc in this young prince, and he was a sad young man trying to voice his eagerness to make Rama go back with him. Rama embraced his beloved brother warmly and spoke to him. "Child, Bharata, you have been born in a noble house. You are blessed with qualities which are not human but divine. My glorious Bharata, how can one like you, walking in the path of Dharma, ever be accused of doing a sinful act with a desire to rule the kingdom? You are of those rare souls who have their senses under control. I am yet to find fault with you for anything. You do not know all the facts, and that is why you blame your mother. Do not do so. Fathers have every right to command their sons to act according to their wish, and this applies to their wives also. You should not blame our revered father for his actions. He is the ruler of the land. He has right to crown me king of the land, or to make me dwell in the forest dressed as I am now. Righteous men should respect their mothers just as much as they do their fathers. When such is the case, when both my father and my mother told me, 'Go to the forest,' how could I act otherwise? You have been commanded to rule the kingdom, and I have been commanded to live in the Dandaka forest for 14 years. The great Emperor Dasharatha has so commanded us, and he has reached the land of the forefathers. It is your duty to act according to his wishes, whether you like it or not. The kingdom has been forced on you, I know, but you cannot escape the responsibility. I will rule over the Dandaka for these few years. My father has said so, and so will it be. My only aim in life is to obey my father, and the three worlds, even if they are offered to me, hold no charm for me. Night was drawing near, and after the worship of the sun, they returned to the ashrama. The night seemed interminably long for everyone, particularly to Bharata, and none of them slept that night. The sun had risen and they reassembled in the same spot as on the previous evening. No one spoke and they sat silent for a while. Bharata broke the silence and said, I will recast my words, Rama. My mother has been granted the kingdom which she had desired for my sake, and I own it. I accept the fact. Permit me now to make an offering of the kingdom at your blessed feet. Make it yours. This kingdom is now like a dam which has burst its banks because of the floods caused by heavy rains. Only you can gather up the broken fragments and make it whole. My trying to do what you should will be like a donkey trying to imitate a high-born horse, like a sparrow trying to soar into the heavens like Garuda. It is a happy state of affairs if one is protected by another and is allowed to live without care. On the contrary, to protect someone is indeed a hard task. I will look like a dwarf reaching out to the fruits and flowers on a branch well beyond his reach. Please have pity on me and on the citizens of Ayodhya who are waiting with eagerness for your word of assent to this prayer. Rama was very unhappy, but he had no intention of making any compromise with the code of Dharma which he followed implicitly. Pure of heart and firm in his decision, Rama would not be moved. He said, Bharata, do not think that I have no sympathy for you in this your predicament. I understand it fully. But then, my child, no man is allowed to do as he pleases. Man has no freedom. Fate tosses him about in all directions. The game which fate plays is unpredictable. Nothing lasts in this world. What has been gathered is scattered about. What was once at the top soon reaches the lowest position. Meetings only end in separations, and as for life, it only ends in death. Ripe fruits have but one fear, that of falling down. And even so, man has no fear other than death. Think of a house built sturdily with strong pillars. Even that, in course of time, becomes weak and ancient. Men too become old, lose their power of thinking, and death claims them. The night which passes will never come back, and the waters of the Yamuna which flow fast when in flood towards the sea will never return. In this world, Bharata, just as the waters on the surface of the earth gets less and less dried constantly by the rays of the sun, man's life also gets lessened day by day. Your life and mine are fast ebbing away. Think on the Lord, my child. Do not spend your time in the contemplation of another's life. Death walks with us, and he accompanies us on the longest journey we undertake. The skin gets wrinkled, hair grows white, old age makes man weak and helpless. Man delights at the sight of the sun rising, and again the setting sun is pleasing to the eye. But man forgets that every sunrise and every sunset has lessened one's life on earth by another day. The seasons come and go, and each season has a charm of its own. But they come, and when they go, they take with them large slices of our lives every time. On the large expanse of the sea, two pieces of wood come together. They float together for a while, and then they are parted. Even so, it is with man and his relationship with life child, kinsman, wealth, and other possessions. Meetings end only in separation. It is the law of nature. No one is capable of altering the course of fate. Weeping for one who is dead will not bring him back to life. Like a flood which will never return to the spot it came from, the part of one's life which has gone by will not come back. Man should take heed of this and set his mind on the attainment of the next world. He should perform his duties and fit himself for the heavens, which he will surely inherit then. Our father lived a blameless life, and he has reached the heavens, which he has earned by the many righteous acts he has performed. He lived a long and happy life, and he is now one with the gods. It is not meet that we should mourn his death. He has shed his old and serene body and is now in the loka belonging to the Brahma. We should not weep any more for our father. A brave man should, under all circumstances, avoid weaknesses like shedding tears or sorrowing for the inevitable. Such a father has wished that you should rule the world and that I should live in the forest. Try and calm your mind which is given to this agitation. Go back to Ayodhya and take up the reins of the kingdom. You know me and my determination. I will not give up this forest life because you request me to. It is against all dharma to disobey one's guru. We should both abide by his command. This is the only path to the heavens. Walk in the path of dharma, which you have been following all these years, and do what our father has asked you to do. I will do the same. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 40, Part 3 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. Bharata's Appeal. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Rama ceased to talk and no one spoke for a while. His words were so full of wisdom and at the same time so compassionate that Bharata was at a loss for words. Bharata tried again and said, "Who can be like you in this world, Rama, with all your senses under control? Nothing can hurt you. What is considered to be difficult for others is not so for you. And what pleases the ordinary man is not a source of a pleasure for a great soul like you. In this ashrama, banished as you are from all comfort and easy living, from the kingdom which should have been yours, you live like a hermit and you look contented, unruffled and calm. Which other man is capable of such wisdom? Unaffected as you are by the reverses of fortune, you should make a gesture to make others happy. Please save me and my mother from the sin which has been committed. In your affection for me, it should be done. My hands are tied by dharma, and that is why I am not able to punish her for what she has done. Born of that righteous king Dasharatha, who walked in the path indicated by his predecessors, how can I pursue a course which will win for me nothing but infamy and censure? My father is my guru and he is dead. For these reasons I am not able to pass judgment on his action. Or else I would say, which man who is so well versed in dharma will, at the insistence of a woman, do something which is wrong, which is harmful to all? There is a proverb that a man, when his end is near, will lose his power of thinking, and that has been proved true in the case of my father. Because of thoughtlessness, a lack of vision or some other reason, father has committed a sinful act. It is up to you to save father's name by setting it right and averting the calamity following it. A son's duty is to be jealous of his father's good name. You must take it upon yourself to rectify the wrong done to the kingdom by the king and redeem his name. Where is the comparison between the forest and the city, between the dharma of a Kshatriya and these matted locks, between this apparel of yours and the ruling of a kingdom. You should adopt the right course, abandon this way of life which is fit only for sannyasins, and rule the world. It is the first duty of a Kshatriya to protect his subjects. This life should be taken upon by you later when you have renounced the kingdom at the sunset of your life. I am inferior to you in every way, and I am not fit to rule the country. You should do it, only you. All the articles necessary for the coronation are here with me. Please allow our Guru Vashishta and the Ritviks to crown you, to perform the coronation and make us all happy. That is why the entire population of Ayodhya is here, to witness the coronation. They were cheated once of it, and it is up to you to make it up to them. Accept the throne and come back to Ayodhya. We will be your servants standing around you to obey your slightest wish. I fall at your feet and beg you, do not refuse our desire. If you refuse, I will not go back to Ayodhya. Like my brother Lakshmana, I will also remain in the forest, serving you all the time. Rama would not agree. He was firm, and the people realized that nothing would move him. His decision made them unhappy, and yet they could not help admiring the greatness of this God among men whom nothing could tempt. Rama tried to soften it for Bharata, and he stroked his bent head with loving hands. My child, only such words will be spoken by the son of a king like my father was. Let me tell you something which you may know or may not. Once, long ago, when our father was wedded to your mother, he had promised to the father of the bride, King Ashwapati, that the son born of Kaikeyi would be crowned king. This was the Kanya Shulka promised to Kaikeya. And again, during the war in the heaven, our father's life had been saved by your mother, and she had been granted the two boons. She had every right to ask the king to grant them to her. And so, my younger mother asked the king for them. They were not expected by the king, of course, and still they were not to be ignored. The kingdom for you and banishment for me. The king was bound by his oath. He has not been unrighteous at all. On the other hand, much against his will, he had to conform the words of your mother. I will certainly obey his wishes and those of my mother. I came to this forest at their behest. You can make my father truthful only if you go back to Ayodhya and rule the country. Our father's promise will be kept only if you go back. We must save father from the sin of adharma, and this is the only way to do it. I have Lakshmana to keep me company, and you have Shatrughna with you. Let us, all four of us, do what our father asked us to do and save his name. We will have the satisfaction that we have obeyed father, and there is no danger of adharma if we do so. In fact, it is the only path open to us. Vashishta intervened on behalf of Bharata and said, Rama, I am your Guru, and I wish to tell you about the race of which you are a worthy descendant. Every one of the heirs has been the eldest son. This has been the rule, and it is not right that you should transgress it. A man has to obey three gurus. One is father, one is the mother, and the third is the guru, the one who has initiated him into the mysteries of learning and who has taught him the sacred Gayatri. The third is superior to the other two, since the father and mother are but the life givers, while the guru shows man the path to the world of spirituality. You owe me something, and you should obey me. For the sake of all these people who have assembled here, for the sake of the antecedents of your family, for the sake of Bharata, and to honor my words, you should come back to Ayodhya and be crowned. Your dharma will not in any way be tainted if you do what I ask you to do. Come back to Ayodhya. Rama was sorely distressed by all this. He was embarrassed by the words of Vashishta. He knew the old man's affection for him and he could not obey him. He spoke in a voice full of respect. The debt I owe to my parents is infinite. They made me what I am. They brought me up with love. They have denied me nothing. They have bathed me, fed me when I was a child, and their words, steeped in love, have made me what I am. It is not possible to return the love of one's parents. Such a man was Dasharatha, my father, and I will not disobey him. Bharata was desperate. He looked at Sumantra and said, Sumantra, spread dharba grass on the ground for me. Unless and until my brother changes his mind and agrees to my proposal, I will sit here without moving. If he will not come back with me, I will not go back to Ayodhya. I will sit here. I will lie down without food, without sleep, without water, and that is certain. Sumantra was unhappy too, and he brought the dharba grass and stood with it in his hand, hoping for a word from Rama. Bharata saw his hesitation and, taking the dharba from his hands, he spread it on the ground himself. Rama spoke in a firm voice, Bharata, why do you compel me like this? According to the dictates of Dharma, only a Brahmin is allowed to sit in prayopavesha. This type of compulsion is not allowed to Kshatriyas. Abandon this desperate resolve and return to Ayodhya. Bharata addressed the people of Ayodhya and said, why do you all stand silent? Make him come with us. He saw their discomfiture. Rama understood it. They had agreed with him that he was doing only what he thought was right, and they had by now realized that it was not possible for them to influence him. He said, Bharata, get up, come, rise up, touch water and say that you have given up this madness. Bharata stood up and after touching water said, let the world listen to my words. I have never once spoken to my father about the kingdom. I have never wanted it. I did not instigate my mother to ask for the kingdom on my behalf. I will not allow Rama to dwell in the forest. If he insists on the letter of the law, I suggest that he should rule the kingdom, and I will instead spend the stipulated number of years in the forest. Rama was astounded by the words of Bharata. He said, what was sold and what was bought by my father during his lifetime can be altered neither by Bharata nor by me. Devi Kaikeyi's wish that I should spend these few years in the forest is neither wrong nor is it against Dharma. My father's words are right too. I know Bharata. I know what a noble man he is. I know the wealth of affection he has for me. He has great respect for those who are elder to him, and he is always truthful. Never once has he uttered a lie, nor have his thoughts ever been inclined towards adharma. There is nothing but good in store for him. When my banishment is concluded, I will accede to his request and rule the land of my forefathers. Bharata, my child, our father was bound by his promise to Kaikeyi, and I accepted the conditions imposed on him by her. You must cooperate with me by obeying me and him too, and thus make his words come true. The rishis around were listening spellbound to the conversation between these noble brothers. It thrilled everyone around to see how each was vying with the other in selflessness. Fortunate is Dasharatha to have such glorious sons, said all of them. They spoke to Bharata in pacifying tones and said, Noble Bharata, you are a worthy scion of a great race of kings. You are wise and have been brought up to learn early in your life the many nuances of Dharma. Rama is right. If you should desire to vindicate your father's honor, you should listen to the words of Rama. King Dasharatha died without seeing his words come true. We approve of the words spoken by Rama, and you should also listen to his advice. Rama was extremely happy to hear the words of the rishis, since this was the first sign of approval he had seen during the long, painful hours of discussion with his beloved brother Bharata. His face was lit up by a smile of gladness and he thanked them silently. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Jai Shri Bharata. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu.